I've been thinking about what you asked me earlier.
I have too.
And I understand why you asked me to join you. There's probably a lot about how the dark passenger does things that makes you hesitant. Especially since you clearly have a type. And I do too. But, it's not what you think.
Hey, whatever it is, it's okay. Honestly, I was gonna say it would be fun to try it your way.
Seems like kind of a small target to find a rideshare driver who's also a sexual predator.
Any driver will do.
But you only kill sexual predators. What about the story you told me about your mom's boyfriend?
Sure. It started out that way. He was my origin story. And then the next few times I targeted men like him because I wanted to create the rush of my first kill. But between us, I just enjoy killing. And when I have an itch, I scratch it.
Hello, all. Welcome back to What's On Tonight, a podcast with elaborate, quirky, and unpredictable conversations about TV, movies, and more. I'm Becky.
And I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
Today we are covering Dexter Resurrection, Episode 5, Murder Horny. Please note this is a spoiler-filled podcast, so if you haven't watched the episodes yet and don't want to be spoiled, just come back and check us out once you've finished. And before we dive into the meat of this episode, we want to give a warm welcome to our special guest, Steve. You've heard many live Steve voicemails for lots of different shows that we've covered, but today we get a live Steve. So welcome, Steve. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It is really is my pleasure. I enjoy this so much, and I've been a Dexter fan for many years. A friend of mine turned me on to the series before I even started podcasting, really, and watched the series. And then just recently with Original Sin coming out, I rewatched the original series. I rewatched New Blood, and then watched Original Sin. And so with this one, just seemed like a no-brainer to do it. But yeah, I've been podcasting with Mark on Panels to Pixels podcast for about 8 years now, right, Mark? Something like 2017, I think we started.
Yep.
And then a few years ago, I started doing the live Steves, and just kind of took off, and people like them, and so
we love them.
I thank you. I'm trying to be humble. People enjoy it. They're enjoyable for the most part, I guess. And so yeah, but the series so far, I've been loving it. It's been a great. New Blood was kind of a meh. I was kind of meh on New Blood. It didn't really. I don't know. Something about the setting being in a small town or something. I don't know. It didn't sit right. But Original Sin was amazing. And especially just after having rewatched the OG series, watching Original Sin, it was so cool to see how they played homage to the original series. And then even this series itself now, Dexter Resurrection, that it plays homage to the original series and to Original Sin and to New Blood as well. It's letting all those things simmer together, and I think it's a great season so far. I hope they get to do more of them. I've seen some criticism, but not a lot of criticism for it. So, and not from me. I think it's great.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And it looks like we are going to get at least 2 more seasons. So
yeah,
I've had that in mind when watching all of these episodes, because it's like, oh, okay, I could see where this could go, I have no idea where this could go. It's just, it's added to me. It's added a whole new kind of little bit of excitement to the show. So
yeah, it's funny too, because they could flip flop if they want, because whatever you want to call, I keep forgetting the name of
Original Sin or
Original
New Blood?
Sin. There you go. Original Sin, because that's set to have more seasons.
Mhm.
So they could always go back and forth with these seasons. So this could end and they could go back to Original Sin at some point and have him reflect after a certain crisis or whatever at the end of this season, and then go back, and then that is how it segues into season 2.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff they can work with here.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I'm
to
here
interweave
for it.
It's really cool too, because I don't know if they've used up necessarily every storyline from the OG series that they could pull into Original Sin. Maybe they have at this point. I can't remember well enough how much season 1 covered, but really they can start breaking new ground even in season 2 of Original Sin, of showing how he gets to where he is by season 1 of Dexter original series. So
So much goodness. Well, we got some feedback. It came in late, so I missed it, but I wanted to make sure we get it in before we start talking about this week's episode. So on episode 4, our friend Alma Contreras wrote, "All I gotta say is Mark wins the chicken dinner for calling it about Dexter's trophies being in the collection, LOL." And I did respond to Alma and tell her that was me, and I would love some chicken.
Exactly. I don't know where they got that though. I was saying that was the second person I think that said that. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, well, if you've listened to any of our podcasts, know I love it when I'm right. So I will go ahead and be like, no, that was me.
yeah.
She goes on to say, "This episode was so good. I loved how Dexter has embraced who he really is. I was dying when he introduced himself to the tattoo killer, crying, laughing face emoji." That was a cool moment. That was such a cool moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to correct you before it's like, let us get this in, you have to say, we have to put this in right like how Dexter usually puts in his syringe in people's necks before he does the kill.
Tonight's the night.
Tonight's the
Gotta
night,
get that
baby.
in before the kill.
That's amazing.
All right. Well, we are covering episode 5 called Murder Honey.
Horny.
Interesting.
Horny.
I keep saying honey. Okay, Murder Horny. Well, actually, it does come out in the episode. So Mia does
Steve,
say
I'm
it.
going to need the mic drop.
Yeah, he'll bring up the
It's in
mic
my
drop.
notes. It's
Okay,
in my
good.
notes.
So episode 5, Murder Horny, was directed by Marco Siega and written by Katrina Mathewson and Tanner Bean.
So, Steve, as our special guest, would you like to read the very lengthy synopsis I found on Wikipedia?
Sure, absolutely. Dexter reunites with Harrison, who reveals Batista's hunt for Dexter and opens up about his guilt, but is reluctant to have his father back in his life. Harrison continues to struggle with his guilt over Ryan's murder and being a suspect in the investigation. To distract himself, Dexter spends more time with Mia and considers revealing the truth about his identity to her, and Mia suggests collaborating on a kill. However, Dexter discovers that Mia is just as depraved as the other serial killers he hunts, targeting anyone when the need to kill strikes her. Unable to kill Mia without drawing attention to himself, Dexter has her arrested as Mia is about to kill her next victim and pins Ryan's murder on her. Prater, who does an interview about himself, orders Charlie to deal with Mia, and she promises Mia that her stay in prison will be comfortable and short. We'll get to that. Dexter finally opens up to his son and promises not to try to mold Harrison after him anymore, and the two begin to rebuild their relationship.
That was a very good synopsis. Person
It is.
who
It's
wrote
very
that
full.
on Wikipedia. All right, well, let's dive into killer moments. If it's all right, I want to start. I'm saving Mia for Steve because
Okay.
your voicemail last week had me cracking up, and I'm going to let you just wax poetic about Mia. I'd like to talk about Harrison's conversations with Dexter
Ooh.
and how they kind of bookended the episode.
Mhm.
Starts and then finishes, but their first conversation, I mean, obviously Harrison is freaked out that, he's seeing his dad. I thought it was great when Harrison says, "You're like a horror movie villain, like Michael Myers or the fucking guy with the hockey mask. You think you're dead." And then, in Dexter in his head, he's like, "There certainly are some similarities." I thought that was great. But forgive me, I should have written down this actor's name. I constantly keep forgetting to do so, but he is killing it this season. I think of how well they cast young Dexter in Original Sin, but I think we need to give credit here for Harrison because he was good
Jack Alcott.
Jack Alcott, thank you.
Yep.
He was good in New Blood, but New Blood didn't just, for whatever reason, did not pack the punch this series is punching with viewers. So I'm really zoning in on him and what he's going through and the way he projects this anguish that he's feeling. And I loved it that he didn't sugarcoat a single thing with Dexter. He talked about how what happened in the woods damaged him. And I appreciate that Dexter took responsibility, that he should not have told him to kill him, that he put something on Harrison that he shouldn't have. And then it was kind of weird when Dexter admits that he knows what Harrison did with Ryan Foster, and the look of like pride and joy that he felt that, Harrison used what he taught him, but you could tell he totally read that situation wrong. And Harrison is not having it. And then we get the flashbacks when Dexter's opening up, talking about how what his first kill felt like. And I like the Original Sin flashbacks. I did not know they were going to do that. And I think that's really, really great.
I like how they interwove the flashbacks with the dialogue. There's so much talk today about showing, not telling. And these bookends of the episode really did a good job of interweaving both the dialogue and the flashbacks of both showing and telling us what happened to her. This episode is almost, if you hadn't watched anything else, you could watch this episode and be caught up on what's going on just between these two conversations between Dexter and Harrison. And even though they do the flashback of his first kill is to the original Sin version of it, not the OG Dexter version of it with Denise Crosby, but it's still the same kill, the nurse Mary or whatever her name was. But I really liked how they interwove those flashbacks with dialogue there. But I have to ask a question about this, because this kind of shows us that that Harrison has not taken on his father's traits. Is that a little bit of a retcon from New Blood? Because didn't it seem like in New Blood they were really trying to make
they were pushing the narrative that Harrison had a dark passenger. I think we talked about it in episode 2. Mark made the distinction that he got a lot of Rita's genetics and that he is a kind, compassionate person. And I kind of argued back, well, it looks like he's got this need to kill inside of him. But yes, Steve, I thought that same thing. I was like, okay, well, they're telling a little bit of a different story here, but I guess it's not, I don't think it's too far fetched in the sense that, he may, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm with you. I'm with you with it. I don't think it's too far fetched for him to change, because he is still a young man. His psyche is still forming.
He's still developing.
He's not an adult. He's not fully an adult yet. He's not. So the ruthlessness and the bloodthirstiness that he showed in New Blood, like when he broke the kid's arm, when he framed the one kid for the whole mass killing thing, he was showing those tendencies. But then it's almost like the moment of shooting Dexter there at the end, and spoiler, if you haven't watched New Blood, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And again, because it was all revealed in this episode anyway, the shooting of Dexter at the end of New Blood really caused him to kind of revert and go, okay, this is not the path I want to go down. And then the killing of Ryan solidified that in him to where he doesn't have the same kind of dark passenger, the compulsion, because he is feeling the guilt of it. He is feeling the weight.
Like killing. Dexter says in the end, their second conversation where he basically admits, okay, I was wrong. You aren't like me. You have compassion. You have humanity. You have a conscience. I do not. So I
Mhm.
will promise not to try to mold you in my vision. I think it's fair to add to what you're saying about it that, when he killed Ryan Foster, you got to stop and think that Harrison is carrying a lot of baggage. He thinks
Mhm.
he killed his dad. He's homeless. He's dealing with the fact that his dad is a serial killer. We still have no clue what it was like for him living with Yvonne Strahovski, who
Mhm.
raised him for all those
Yeah.
years after Rita was killed. There's so much we still don't know. So
Mhm.
it's not far-fetched that in a moment of rage of seeing this douchebag sexual predator, about to sexually assault this girl, that all of that came flooding out and he just
Mhm.
lost it. So
Hmm.
yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, well, or you didn't want to admit that I was right.
No, I said you were. I said I
I'm just-
argued back a little bit, but
but I really think that's how the framework of how Harrison was. He can flip flop, but I always attributed it of his actions from New Blood and what he did here as being growing pains and learning as he's maturing.
yeah.
And he just utilized the tools that Dexter gave him in New Blood to cover up. And that was like Dexter's, spidey sense went off and said, hey, he's like me. My
Mhm.
son's like chip off the old shoulder. You did
Mhm.
exactly what I would do when I killed somebody, put him in 9 bags and get rid of it and clean up after yourself. And the way it comes out in that conversation is truly really good acting between Alcott and Michael C. Hall within
Mhm.
that one scene.
Their chemistry is, I love that overhead shot of them sitting at the table, father and son, both of their hands are laying on the
Mhm.
table the same way. And Dexter finally comes clean and tells him the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about the Trinity Killer, how he got involved with the Trinity Killer, thinking he could learn something and how
Mhm.
to be a good
Mhm.
father to Harrison, but that ended up being the demise of their family and how it was a terrible choice and that he actually apologizes. He's not trying to make excuses like he does and did with all of those people as he was being discovered throughout the OG season.
Mhm.
And I'm going to read a couple of his quotes. When Dexter tells him the truth, Harrison just simply says the truth, finally.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
Dexter says, I see that there's goodness and humanity in you, and you don't have to have this life. And I'm sorry for what I brought into your life. And he says, I have so many reasons to kill, but you're my reason to live.
Oh,
And I
that was
think
such a great quote. Yeah,
oh, it's
that was.
beautiful and so
Yeah.
well, honestly, raw delivery that I think for the first time a little bit, not say that they're healed, but you
Mhm.
could see a little bit of Harrison's wall crumbling. And when he just reaches over and just gently lays his hand on Dexter's and admits, yes, you're all I have too, you could see a path forward for the two of them. And I loved how they bookended that. And I think it showed growth for Dexter as a father that he gave Harrison as much time as he could, that Harrison came to him. And I think by doing what he did with the Watt shows Harrison that yes, he will protect me. And I think
Mhm.
Harrison not spilling the beans to Batista that yeah, you're right, my dad is the Bay Harbor butcher, shows that
Yeah.
there is still something in Harrison that
Yeah.
feels for Dexter.
Yeah, and I still think that watch though, because the lady detective, they show that moment where she still has her doubts, I think.
Oh yeah, and Batista's going to as well.
Yeah, I think that watch is going to become the thing that's gonna bite him, because I think they're gonna find some way, they're gonna trace that watch and figure out that it had been in a repair shop, and that that it didn't get out of the repair shop till after Ryan Foster was killed. And so that's just my, I don't have any, there's no, obviously we haven't watched the next episode yet because it's not out yet, but that's just my speculation. That watch is going to come back to bite them, I think, at some point, or maybe not, maybe it won't, or maybe it will, and it'll get hidden by somebody. I don't know. But that watch has got to be, they're making too big a deal out of that watch for it not to come back.
Yeah. Well, Mark mentioned last week that when expensive items like that are being repaired or whatever, they have some kind of tracking of it. So that would add to that, that's definitely a big possibility.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't take much for them to figure that one out. So
no.
So yeah, so you mentioned Kristen Ritter's character, and I do have a crush on Kristen Ritter.
We never would have figured that
out. Yeah. But here's the thing that I will say is that I really like what they did with the character. It was surprising and it was refreshing at the same time, because we've just not seen, I don't think, to my knowledge anyway, we've not seen a female serial killer portrayed this way. I mean, like she says, and I've got the quote here where she says, what really annoys me, that society doesn't think that a woman could just enjoy murder. She has to be some crusader, a victim who fights back. And then they have this little back and forth about who's innocent, who's not innocent. And at the end of it, she says, but the truth is, I'm the predator.
Yes.
Yep. And when that twist of her being an actual, and I could see it, like even my first time watching, as I'm listening to her talking to Dexter about this, I was like, watch out, Mia, because you're starting to fit the code. You're no longer going to be out of his sights. You're suddenly going to be in his sights.
Oh, she walked right into that code. She walked right onto that table.
Yeah. And fortunately for her, he had already killed one of the people at the dinner party, so he didn't want to kill again. So he had to find another way to get her out of the picture, which was by framing her, for Ryan Foster's murder, which I had to put my suspenders of disbelief on for a little bit, because I guess, would the police really knock down a door on an anonymous tip like that if they haven't had any? I mean, without any kind of prior, maybe they could hear something at the door. Maybe we're supposed to assume they could hear him struggling or something. It just seemed like they got there right on time. Like, not that I wanted her to kill the guy. I'm just saying it just seemed like they got there right. And how does she dispose of the bodies? Like she said, this is her first kill in New York. She brings them back to her own home. What was she going to do with the body?
I'm sure Prater would have would have had some kind of help.
There was just a lot of things to that part of that. I understood they wanted us to get there quickly, but it seemed like, and did we actually see Dexter break into her apartment? How did he know which apartment was her? Okay, we did. I must have
just been there before, remember?
Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Because when she took the shower, so he didn't know where she lived. Okay. So yeah. So it just seemed like, I don't know, maybe that is something that would happen, but I would just hope the police would have a little bit more hesitancy on an anonymous tip of busting down a door like that.
Well, when he called, he was saying it was like, I believe it's this murderer. He keeps screaming this murderer's name.
But he wasn't. The guy was gagged, and so unless
that doesn't mean anything, they're going on the anonymous tip,
right? But that's what I'm saying is unless they could hear from the door. Because Dexter said that the guy was screaming, but he didn't actually do any screaming, is what my point is.
I know.
It just it was just a little, like, I get exigent circumstances, and I get that it just seemed a little bit hasty to me that they would just bust the door down. Like, I'm glad the guy lived and all and everything, but at the same time, I'm just like, that took me out of it for a little bit to think, really, would they? Yeah, and obviously after the fact, they find all the evidence of her trophies and all of her kill kit there, and obviously she was already starting to put the lye on the guy's eyes. So, because you can see that his eyes are already kind of bandaged.
Yep.
So, I mean, I get that they found enough evidence there to justify what they did. It just seemed a little much. before that whole sequence of events, she does say to Dex, "You got me murder horny." So she said the title of the episode. So we got our mic drop moment, which I believe just about every episode so far this season of this show has had the episode title spoken. I believe. I know. Call Me Red for sure because he said it a couple times in the last episode because I remember that. So I'm curious when the next episode comes out, and we've got to wait a week now because I forget we get it early with Paramount Plus with Showtime. It actually won't be out until tomorrow night. This is Saturday. We're recording this, so it actually won't be out till tomorrow night. So it's going to be another whole week before, or at least 4 or 5 days before we get the next episode to find out whether Mia survives. What was that? Charlie does say your stay will be comfortable, but it'll be short. What does that mean? Does that mean they're going to break her out? Or does that mean they're going to have her killed? I don't know. So
I just found it that whole scene of the way it segues into it was after Harrison had to sit down with Dexter at his place, but then he calls up Mia he goes, "I need to connect with somebody who knows me," and then that's what revolves around it. He talks about wanting to take her to the ballet because it's something that was within her rapport of what he remembered from the conversation after their jog. But he's all like pulling over with your car or your share car or whatever it is, and seeing the poster for Swan Lake, and he tells her that. And she just gets a little upset about that and states that what was it?
Swan Lake is boring. Yeah, she says Swan Lake is boring.
It's a ballet when you want to take a nap with 2,000 other people also taking naps.
Yeah,
and then he takes her to something that he actually enjoys, which is bowling. Callback to
New Blood. Yeah. The bowling thing. So, and I love how he picks up the 7-10 split, but still loses the game. I pick up the 7-10 split and I still lose. That's just wrong.
I think the shoulder thing is going to be a thing. I don't know how, I don't know why, but there's a lot of emphasis on it when he felt the pain, and then afterwards when he's in his apartment talking to imaginary Harry. I just feel like that's going to be a thing. But I want to add to your conversation about how convenient it was that the police busted in. Here's where I think Dexter screwed up. Well, here's two ways I think Dexter screwed up. During their conversation where they're talking about the wine, and he says it reminds him of a Miami, something in Miami. And he admits to her that he grew up in Miami. I think that's going to be a thing because I don't see them killing off Christian Ritter this early. But I mean, who knows? They killed Neil Patrick Harris day 2. So I don't know. But I feel like she's going to figure this out. And Dexter, when he called the police, and she said she's Lady Vengeance. And he said Lady Vengeance twice. Nobody knows her. Nobody knows her face. So he knows Lady Vengeance is in New York. I just feel like he's dropped too much that's going to lead them to him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and plus it's been a lot online has been made out of that he touched that button on the display with one of his fingers that wasn't the gloved finger. So Prater could have his fingerprint to find out who he really is, that he's not Red.
He used his regular fingers, like all 4 fingers instead of the thumb.
So it's possible that Prater could have his real fingerprints and then figure out who he is by that, and couple that with the admission to Mia that he is from Miami, and that Charlie and them could go, well, how come they knew she was Lady Vengeance? So I could see you saying that could lead the police back to, especially because we know that Christian Ritter doesn't like that name, and also the detective even said she didn't like that name because the detective was a little unsure that Lady Vengeance was the right name, because even the detective said, I don't like that that moniker for her. So yeah, you could have something there. There could be something that's going to lead back to the group figuring out that he's not who he says he is.
Yeah. Mark, what's a main point you'd like to discuss? I'm sorry. I feel like
I feel like we
It's
left
all
Steve
David
and I
out.
are just like, blah, 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 blah.
I'm sorry. No. I was having little computer problems just for a short second. I was like, did I lose all my notes?
Uh-oh.
I had to go through everything. I was like, figured it out. All right. Well, we went over everything with the bowling and everything with me and Dexter, that whole conversation. We kind of segued into the discussion of the kill, how the kill happened. Well, possible kill with Mia, and then her being framed by Dexter. But I like the foreshadowing of it always comes out about it within the very beginning of the episode, especially with Harrison. And Harrison, you could see, just to fall back on Harrison a little bit, with him handing them a watch, because even Dexter said, here, let me hold on to this. The ticking was going on as Harrison was talking within that scene, because it was his stress of the watch, and it's constantly a reminder in his brain, and that's where the ticking was coming from. But then Dexter utilizing that as a way to frame Mia later on in the episode, which was really, really cool and innovative in a sense. But it's something that, as a writer, it's a trope that you would do, that saying, okay, well, this is foreshadowing, so this is something to keep your eyes out, because it's a little piece, it's a little nugget we're going to give you there. But it was kind of, for a lot of viewers and a lot of people who watch movies and keep their eyes and ears and their mind open, will know that, and you're like, I'm waiting for that to happen. I was waiting for that to happen, and I was like, when is he going to do this, and who is he going to do? Well, then, when I saw him take the watch and do all that with Dexter, I thought right away, jewelry box, because it's a watch.
I didn't. When he took the watch from Harrison, all I was thinking is, I just think about times when my mom, when I was just younger and heartbroken and being a wiser parent, let me carry this for you. Or you think about, if you have a relationship with God or a higher power, it's like, give this to me. Let me carry this for you. And when he said to Harrison, let me carry this for you, I just thought he's taking this watch to take this burden, this reminder.
Well, and I think that's what it was at first.
Initially,
that's what it was at first. And if you listen to the way they edited the sound there, and I didn't notice it till the second viewing, because you hear the ticking, the ticking. And then as soon as he hands it to Dexter, the ticking stops.
And that breath that Harrison lets out.
Correct.
That you can tell the weight is off him now. Okay, now Dexter's got it. But then, like Mark and I were discussing, we were recording last night for panels. As soon as Mia started talking about how she actually did fit the code, as soon as she started talking about, and we knew he had the watch, both Mark and I clicked into, oh, he's going to use that watch to frame her.
Yeah.
And get Harrison off the hook.
That was pre-podcasting here, everybody. So
Oh, so y'all cheated. And
we collaborated. We collaborated a little bit.
We were recording for Ironheart.
And we had both watched the episode once and had our initial thoughts, kind of thing. I was like, as soon as he picked up the watch out of the trunk,
that's when I started to think, okay, he might be doing something with this.
Yeah, it wasn't when he initially. Yeah, no, when he initially got it from Harrison, I think it totally was just to take that burden off him, because he hadn't learned about Mia yet at that point. But as soon as he learned about Mia, now he had the means.
He had the fuel to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
The other part about Harrison, though, that I liked, him talking to the detective, because she winds up calling him after he first has that sit down with Dexter. And it was because he kind of called her at 3 a.m. And that was
9:03 a.m.
9:03 a.m. 9:03.
And you didn't leave a message.
Okay.
I loved that delivery.
So, and then he used it as a reference of when she goes, well, this is something we have to talk to in person, blah, blah, blah. And then him saying that the reason why he called was he wanted to get the number of the girl that he saved.
Shauna. Yeah.
and he kind of covered it up because, and then she goes, well, why wouldn't you get that since you are working in a hotel? Wouldn't you have that access? And he goes, no, I'm a bellhop and my manager's a dick.
Yeah. I love that. And I thought it wasn't until the second time watching that I wondered if there was something more to him wanting Shauna's information. But now that you say that, Mark, I think you're right. I think all that, it was just him finding a way to justify to the detective why he had called her.
Yeah.
So I think at first I was thinking maybe there was more to it, to him wanting to contact Shauna, because the one girl had kind of rebuffed his attraction. Maybe he was going to check in with Shauna and see if there was some attraction there. But now I think you're right. I think it really was just not a throwaway line necessarily, but it was a way for him to cover up why he had called the detective. So that makes a whole lot more sense. Okay.
And we get a little thing out of the detective too, that kind of puts it in your brain for future, even though at the very end of the episode, we find out that Mia is being set up as the person who killed this guy, Ryan, with the watch.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, we don't literally give the victim's information to possible suspects.
Yeah.
And he was like, wait, I'm
still a suspect.
I'm still a possible suspect. And then that sticks in my head, meaning that regardless of Dexter pinning this on Mia and the detective being skeptical about Mia being the one that did this, because even he goes, everything lines up. We got all these other fics. They're possible rape. They're all rapists and everything else. And she goes, no. And I like it. It's kind of that I hate using the Boondocks reference of Smecker but she has that attitude, that nuance about her of like, no, I could smell it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, there's something. She's still got her eye on Harrison. She doesn't like Mia completely for the Ryan Foster murder. Now the other murders, of course, but the Ryan Foster one, she's still skeptical about.
I love the detectives because she could smell, anything wrong, like BO in an elevator. She knows what it's like, and she is kind of avant-garde with her detective skills, and that's what I like about it. It's she's a dedicated character, very much like Charlie. I like that we get to know a little bit more about Charlie in this when she goes to see Mia. So that was another point I wanted to bring up if you want to talk about it. Because
go ahead.
No, Prater sends Charlie to the police department after he finds out about Mia being picked up and being framed for Ryan's murder. And he sees it and he goes, oh, great, another one. He goes, and then even Mia goes, oh, you were sent here to take care of me. Kind of
She's
attitude.
like, I'm here to look you in the eye. And I was like, wow, she is looking to see, are you going to be a problem?
Yeah, are you going to be a problem for Prater? And Mia tells her, no, I'm not going to ask for money. I'm not going to ask you to save me. I'm not going to ask for any of that. I know the rules. Obviously, so obviously this is something that Prater has set up with them beforehand, saying that, hey, if you get caught, I'm not going to do anything to let you free, but you better not talk about me because I have ways of getting to you. I thought we learned a lot about Prater, and we learned a lot more questions about him in this episode as to that kind of veiled threat toward Charlie there, when Charlie says, I'm not sure I can get toward her. And he's like, well, didn't I hire you to fix problems? Was that a mistake? And she's like, no, sir. No, I'm on it. So there's more to Prater than meets the eye here.
Yeah, definitely there is. And there's more to Charlie too, because Mia looks at her and goes, oh, you were a lawyer? And she goes, what law school did you go to? And I forgot what prestige.
She said Harvard. Yeah, she said she went to Harvard. Yeah.
They went to Harvard. And it's just like, whoa, wait, what?
But is she really a lawyer? Or did she say that to be able to get in to see Mia? I don't know what you could trust.
Just like, is she actually a third grade teacher? I was going to bring this up that we have this little scene between her and a grandmother or some sort of relation to her.
Yes,
her mom or grandmother who's in a care unit.
Yep.
And the mom she's telling the mom about this kid who's in her class. So she's pretending to be like a third grade teacher to this woman. And I kind of tied that into Prudence, Blessing's mother,
Yes.
saying that she wants to die at home and not in some sterile hospital room. And suddenly, are we foreshadowing something that's going to happen there? As far as, is she going to be put in this unit with this woman who Charlie knows, or is that going to be some sort of connection? I don't know. I just found it interesting that they showed us that little scene of Charlie in this, like you said, Mandy, maybe it's her, Becky, I'm sorry.
It says Mandy. We're using Mandy Zoom, so my name is showing as Mandy.
No, it's Becky. It's not Mandy. But yeah,
I'm not insulted. I love
my name is
Mandy.
Shady, so it's okay.
There you go. But we get that little snippet, that conversation there with her. And then Charlie leaves, and you're kind of left with, well, who is this woman?
Yeah.
Is it her mother? Is it her grandmother? Maybe it's her mother? Probably mother. Looking at the age range, probably mother. But either way, there's definitely a corresponding storyline there between Prudence and this woman in the care facility. So we'll see how that all shakes out eventually.
I think that's a good catch too, because usually that is something that will come down, like you said, down the road when it comes to like that little hint that we get. And who's to know if, like, let's say Messing's mother is put into an assisted living and it's the same one. And then Dexter's there to visit, and then there's Charlie there visiting as well at the same time.
Ooh, wow, that's a good thought.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that's it opens up really these possibilities of connections outside of the dinner party to where these people could meet up. So yeah, I definitely saw that there.
Nice. Well done, gentlemen. Well done. All right. Well, if you guys are cool, you want to talk a little bit about Prater?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of this man. So we've discovered, according to him, that he grew up in a foster home. And I have a question.
Go ahead.
And y'all may not know the answer. I could be reaching, but there's so many little things that they're showing in this series that I feel like the tattoo killer and him with the you Dexter at the end, like once he said, I'm the Bay Harbor Butcher, he recognized something. Well, that photo of the foster home that Prater grew up in, I feel like we saw that same building in the original Dexter series with one of Dexter's victims.
That's a possibility.
I can't prove it, but that's what I feel.
Yeah, it's highly possible. I don't know, because they didn't say where the foster home was that he grew up in, just that he grew up in a foster home. And we know that there's some connection there between, wasn't Brian, the ice truck killer, wasn't he in a foster home for a while?
Yes, he was.
Or in foster homes, maybe from the original series. So there's definitely could be a connection there between Dexter and Prater. That's a good catch. I did not catch that. So yeah, it's possible. And the fact that he said he went back and he's paid for the mortgages of all the families that adopted kids out of that foster home or out of the foster homes that he was part of. I didn't get all the specific details, but he's definitely, philanthropy is a part of his thing,
but he won't talk about that part.
No, he doesn't want that public.
So
yeah.
Why?
Exactly. And where does his money come from? If he didn't come from family money, how did he come from a foster home, a kid growing up in a foster home, to making his first $1 million? Because that's what he says, right? When he made his first $1 million, that was when he paid the mortgage off of the family that adopted him, or something like that. And now he's I'm assuming a multimillionaire, some sort of really rich guy, venture capitalist, as you talked about with Penny, the last episode. The venture capitalist means he's got a lot of money to play with. Where did his money come from? These are all things we're going to have to find out.
Interesting.
The only other thing I've got on my notes, we talked about Prudence. I liked the line when she was asking him about if he grew up that she thought he grew up in New York, or they had family in New York. He says in his inner monologue, he says, "Just a son who hates me and a dead dad that lives in my subconscious."
That was great.
I thought that was great. And then, of course, when he's talking about collaborating with Mia, Harry says, "Dex, when did teaming up with another serial killer work for you? Do you remember
And who
Prado?
did they
Do you
bring
remember
up?
Prado and
Lumen.
Lumen? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
please tell me that's not a throwaway.
I
No, I
don't
hope
think
not.
so. But the funny thing is, it makes me think. It's like I keep bringing it up, and then out of the blue, they mention it here on this episode.
Mark and I are jonesing for some Lumen.
I would love for Julia Stiles to come back. She's another one of those actors that I've loved ever since I saw her in 10 Things I Hate About You and in the Bourne. She was in the Bourne movies, and I just think she's a great actor. So,
Yeah.
What was that movie she was in where she played a dancer whose mom was killed?
Oh, I forgot.
Oh, I
Say the Last
loved that.
Dance?
Loved that movie. Still love that movie. I watched it a couple of months ago and it still
Wasn't
holds up.
Channing Tatum in that too?
No, Channing
Okay.
Tatum is not.
Channing.
I
wasn't in
don't
it?
think I would have liked it. Nothing against Channing
What's
Tatum.
wrong with Channing Tatum?
I don't know.
it's okay. He doesn't listen. So it's okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with him. He's a typecast. He's
Yeah.
He is,
this
but
kind
he's
of
done
movie that
other
she was
things
in
lately,
was
you know.
not. Channing Tatum would not have fit the role. It wouldn't have worked. But yes, he's a very, very attractive young man.
I think the only other thing I've got in my notes that we haven't covered yet is Dexter gets a new blood slide box.
Which
Yeah.
I think is a dumb idea.
And he
Yeah.
can't fit the slide that he got from.
Yeah, his
Lowell.
makeshift slide from Lowell doesn't fit in there.
He
So
goes,
I'm
well,
gonna need a
as
bigger
always,
box.
it doesn't fit. And yeah, just like in Jaws, a Jaws reference, which
Mhm.
also is a Predator, everybody. So it's he sees it where it's fit, which is so funny. And he does say that in his inner monologue. He goes, "Guess I'm gonna need a bigger box."
I do want to flash back to Prater for just a minute
Yeah.
because we hear about this gala that it's 10th year that this gala that he throws for some police group.
Yeah, for law enforcement, right.
And it's the hottest ticket in town. And he does it because he was in the car with his parents when they were hit and his parents were killed by a drunk driver. And he's talking about the brave officers. He doesn't finish anything. He just says it was a formative time in my life. And that's all that he says about that. So I wonder I wish I'd have paid attention to when the gala was, because I wonder if it's going to fit into
I think it's got to.
one
There's
of
no way to.
his activities he's got planned.
Yeah, because
for
he said
his-
it's also the anniversary of that death, of his parents' death.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely got to play into. I looked at a few episode titles. I don't remember them now, but I think we're getting are we getting 12 episodes
10.
of this? 10
10,
episodes.
yeah.
So we've got several more episodes to go. So we could conceivably get to that gala before the end of the season. So I think it's definitely going to be in there, I think.
So wait, the history of Prater's parents dying, I kind of probably breezed over it.
He says they were killed, and as Becky just pointed out, he says they were killed by a drunk driver and that he was in the back seat. And then he talks about the brave officers, which you would think in a case like that, it would be more of the fire department, right? Who would be rescuing
Yeah,
a child,
unless it was a murder.
That's what I'm thinking. I wonder if there's more to that. What happened with his parents and the drunk driver?
Because he just all he says, if it weren't for those brave officers, and then he kind of trails off, and then he just says it was a formative time in my life. So
yeah, he's very coy about it.
Then there's something more there.
Where was this? Was this in Florida?
We don't know. He doesn't say.
Think about it. What if Dexter was on the scene?
They haven't revealed to us that we don't know where any of this stuff happened. So
Yeah,
it
that
could
is
be
true.
Florida. It could be another Florida
Well,
connection.
if you go back and rewatch this episode, pause on that photo.
Mhm.
And I just something triggered in my head. Like we've seen that building before, but I can't quite think of the storyline that was attached to it.
Mhm.
Well, that could be a homework assignment for our listeners for when they send in feedback, so they could do that
if
too.
anybody agrees with me, or once again, I'm just saying things that aren't really there because I'm just dying for some connection.
Mhm.
Not like
Yeah,
Dexter
it could
and
be
Mia,
anything.
but
The time frame doesn't seem right that Dexter would be involved in the accident.
I don't think it's the accident.
But yeah, you never know. We don't know what the time frame was of any of this stuff. He just says when
That
he was a
foster
child.
home's been a foster
So.
home apparently for a long time.
Mhm.
Prater has
Yeah.
to be in his late 40s, early 50s. I
At
think
least he's got to be close to the same age as Dexter.
That's what I was thinking.
If not a little, if he might be playing a little older. I'm not sure exactly because again, we don't really know the time. I know Michael C. Hall is in his late 40s. So if he's playing the same age as what Dexter is, they're probably close to the same age.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see more of Prater's. I'm interested to see how this plays out.
Same here.
Mark, what else do you want to talk about?
I think we covered a lot of what I was interested in. So whatever you guys want to continue on.
I have two small notes.
Yeah.
And that's when Mia was walking into the bar looking stunning, and her confidence in that doorman is like, oh, trust me, you look good. And she's like, yeah, I know.
Right.
And when she's walking in, I don't know what the name of the song was, but all I heard was Pussy Liquor.
Oh, yeah. I can tell you what that's in my notes. I have it.
Well done.
It's I have it notated here. Pussy Liquor was written by Mr. Rob Zombie.
Ah,
okay.
And this is when Lady Vengeance is on the prowl for her victim after Dexter backs out of the quote unquote threesome. So that's in my notes. Yeah, I looked that up already. And I knew right away it was Rob Zombie because of the voice.
I liked it. That song will definitely be going on to one of my playlists. And then I just would like to briefly discuss her toolkit. First of all, she uses lye to burn out their eyes. And then all of the different items.
Torture
what
implements.
Does she do to those people? Like she doesn't just enjoy a kill. She likes to torture.
Yeah,
yes.
after she made that joke with Dexter about when he said I've got my kill kit in the car, and she's like, "Ooh, so professional or official or whatever. You got a kill kit." And then we see that there in her apartment, she's got all these tools laid out like it's a. Yeah, it was
like
that was
butcher.
disturbing. Like that was disturbing to see all those different tools that she was going to use on that guy and what she was going to do to him. Yeah, seemed way over the top of what they've been talking about for her kills. So
they looked more of like mortician's tools from what I could tell, and more for operational tools, but these weren't more as like in a hospital base because they were all black, that's what I recall.
They were definitely dirty and nasty. They were definitely nasty looking.
Yeah. Ugh. I hate eyeball stuff. And when she went to open his eye for
I'm out.
Yeah. Well, at least you didn't have a regular speculum there too. That would have been interesting. But okay.
Wow. You just made me flash back to never wanting to go to the girly doctor ever again.
Especially if you're a guy.
Yeah, well, it's always good to make sure everything's working properly.
That is true.
So last note, Batista did not look pleased.
No.
That Mia had been arrested for Foster's murder. So we didn't get a lot of Batista this episode, but what we did get was golden.
Yeah. Love it.
The only thing I have would be a quote that I didn't really mention.
Sure.
That would be Dexter to Harrison when they're having their sit down conversation about Harrison and his guilt and how he wants to it was just before he handed over the watch to Dexter, and Dexter states, "You are who you are till you are your worst." And I thought that was an interesting take on it.
Great
Absolutely.
writing.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move into our final thoughts. Steve, yay or nay?
Oh, definitely yay. I'm definitely a yay on this episode.
Marky Mark?
Yeah, I would. This is a definite yay. Last week I really, like I said, it was one of my favorites, but it's something that call me wacky, don't call me crazy, call me a sick person, but I like the idea of the whole, serial killer convention. But this added on to more fuel for my thoughts of the show itself and thinking about the show and anticipating the next episode. So that's what this did.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Very similar to my thoughts. I am obviously a yay. I just wrote here another great episode, well written and well acted storylines, had a good surprise and a lot of emotion. I think it's interesting there was no kill this episode. So we are still waiting to see who Dexter's next victim will be. We still haven't gotten to know the other two guests at the dinner party, and we don't know what's next for their meetup. So this episode, while I think doing a great job of not closing stories because they're still open, but giving us some clarification and building, but it's just opened up, like Mark said, a whole new realm of possibilities of where we can go. And I think the most fun I've had this season is speculating what's going to happen next. So it just all around hand, just great job, everybody. All right. Well, I dug up a little bit of show notes and news. I really thought this was cool, so thought we might share. Mark, you want to start off?
Yeah. In an article by John.
Still just John, no last name.
It's with Dexter Daily. The Dexter fandom is alive and thriving, and it's never been more evident than right now. With 4 episodes officially aired, Dexter Resurrection is not just living up to the expectations, it's exceeding them. The buzz is everywhere from social media threads to fan forums, and the consensus is clear. The series keeps getting better with each episode.
Episode 4, titled Call Me Red, is already being hailed as a standout chapter in the franchise. Not only was it suspenseful and thrilling, featuring a surprise lineup of well-known Hollywood talent, but it also served as a heartfelt tribute to longtime fans of the original series. Through a scene inside Leon Prater's vault, the episode delivered a cascade of nostalgic callbacks, so much so that even Dexter Morgan himself appeared stunned by what he was witnessing. This fan-favorite episode was penned by the rising writing duo Alexandra Franklin and Mark Mazinski, who previously co-wrote episode 5 of Dexter Original Sin, aptly titled F is for F Up. Thankfully, their latest effort was anything but. Fans across the internet have praised Call Me Red for its sharp writing, compelling direction, and emotional depth.
And the proof of this? The ratings speak for themselves. Within just 18 hours of its release, episode 4 debuted with a 9.7 out of 10 audience rating. And as of now, at the time the article was updated, that number has climbed to an impressive 9.8 out of 10 based on over 7,100 votes, matching the legendary rating of the original series' season 4 finale, The Getaway, which still stands as one of Dexter's most iconic episodes. That 2009 finale, remembered for its shocking twist and the heartbreaking death of Rita at the hands of Trinity Killer, remains unforgettable for fans, and now Call Me Red is being mentioned in the same breath. Who would have guessed that a revival series would hit the same emotional and critical highs as the original? And yet, here we are.
While ratings can fluctuate as more votes come in, this early reception is a strong indicator of just how resonant Dexter Resurrection has become. From the gripping performances and clever casting to its deep respect for Dexter lore, the show is proving itself to be more than a nostalgia cash-in. it's a worthy continuation. Spin-offs and revivals rarely match that brilliance of original. But so far, Dexter Resurrection is the exception to the rule.
I just thought
Absolutely.
that was great because when anybody ever asks me what my favorite episode of Dexter is, it is that finale.
Mm-hmm.
I love that article. I really liked hearing how high that episode got because I think for most of us thus far, that is the best episode of the season.
Yeah.
It's up there for sure. Yeah.
And we'll post the article, link to the article in show notes. So I pretty much made us all read the entire article. But if you want to go back and read it, it'll be there. So we did get a little bit of feedback from our girls. We got an email from Penny, our special guest last week. And she wrote, I can't believe how fast the story is moving. So much happened in this episode. Again, you know me. I love Mia's somewhat feminist take on her press coverage. Last episode, we heard her disdain for the moniker Lady Vengeance. And here she points out how gender colors the way press talk about her, ascribing a mission and message to her killing where men would be allowed to just be monsters, though they also are given monikers, motives, and patterns. As much as I may agree with her analysis of the press coverage, the relatable desire for equal treatment is overshadowed by the revelation that she isn't too picky about her targets and is a code-worthy predator. The misdirect worked on the audience as much as it worked on Dexter. Weren't we all kind of thinking, she's not so bad, especially compared to Lowell?
Mm-hmm.
It's just so sad that Dexter can never find a serial killer buddy who measures up to his high standards. And there's a lot of winky face with the tongue sticking out emojis there. Framing her for the Ryan Foster murder was such clever and quick thinking, though. How did he get the watch? He got the watch from Harrison. Harrison gave it to him when they first got together. So this story, Mia in jail and Charlie on a mission to deal with, is way more interesting to me than Dexter just killing her. I completely agree. Nice twist. Especially with added Charlie backstory this week. Her mother thinks she's a teacher. How long has that deception been going on? Did she really go to law school? I predict that Mia and Charlie will end up collaborating to investigate Red.
Penny goes on to say, I'm also predicting that the storylines will converge at Prater's charity gala. I think eventually Prater will figure out, or Dexter will reveal that he's the Bay Harbor butcher. And rather than being angry or directing Charlie to kill Dexter, he'll be tickled that he's found the best, rarest, most valuable serial killer to collect. Who do you think will be Dexter's next meal from the buffet of serial killers? I'm equally excited for an episode focused on Eric Stone Street and David Dastmalchian. Slay the patriarchy. P.S. If you like the idea of a woman taking revenge on predatory men, I highly recommend Emerald Fennelly's brilliant film Promising Young Woman. Penny. Promising Young Woman is it's what she just stated, but it's also very disturbing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like I Spit on Your Grave, and there was actually Bridget Fonda did a movie, and so did I'm forgetting her name from Beetlejuice. But anyhow, there's several movies that women go out on vengeance and kills and things of like that and that nature, whether it be in film and books. So there's some out there.
I'm gonna have to check that one out. Well, let's answer her question. Who do you guys think is going to be Dexter's next meal?
Oh, the next dance that Dexter would have. We haven't really seen much of the ponytail, the Rapunzel killer.
That's Eric Stone Street. That's Al. I think David Dastmalchian is going to be saved for last because
the Gemini killer is definitely going to be saved for last.
He's the most ominous one.
Yeah, and I think Eric Stone Street's that character may be the next one. We'll see how it all shakes out.
And do you think maybe Dexter sticks with the framing and arrest instead of the killing?
I think it's going to depend on whether Prater figures out who he is or not.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because really, it's going to be tough to do either one without exposing himself.
Well, he's
You
going to
don't want
have to
us
wait till
exposing
the
ourselves.
retreat is over.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say
Yeah, the
exposing
romance
himself?
between him and Mia is gone,
Sorry.
by the way.
No, it's funny. I talked
That's
about getting it in earlier. We're good,
Yeah,
Steve.
that's the whole. You don't want us. That's the whole Ghostbuster reference. You know, you don't want us exposing ourselves.
That's some good points, Penny. You've got me
Yes.
thinking now. I'm curious. Who do you think it's going to be next, Penny? Let us know.
Yeah. And we also got an email from Kelsey, who will be back with us also for a few more episodes this season. Here are her thoughts. She goes, I take back my compliments from a couple of weeks ago about Harrison's lying skills. This episode, he did everything you shouldn't. Don't answer questions you're not asked. Dang. The intro this week was a little different. Not sure if I liked it or not. Do you think those things about Prater are true? Being an orphan and all that? Or is it a manufactured public persona? I think my favorite part of the episode was when Mia was about to attack that guy. I'm not really a vino guy, and that's why you have to die. Something pretty much I thought came right out of American Psycho when he was talking about Huey Lewis and then kills him with or bonks him in the head in the back because he didn't like the song. But anyhow, she continues on saying, and I've had enough red today anyway. Yeah, I love that pun. That line intended for him.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I
Because,
didn't catch it until just
Dexter-
now as well. Yeah, call me red.
I thought about it. I just haven't added my notes, but I laughed when I heard that because Dexter, me pointing it out, the obvious to you now, everybody, Dexter was representing himself as red.
Mhm.
I didn't even catch it at first that she was talking about Dexter. And while not justifiable reason for a murder, saying you are or aren't a vino guy is total ick. I hope we get more of Mia somehow. Looking forward to hearing you guys talk about this one. Awesome.
Oh, I love that red comment. Thank you, Kelsey.
Yeah.
Very good. Very, very good. And we are very excited to have both of you brilliant ladies back on again for a couple more episodes this season. Woohoo! So thank you everyone for the feedback. We appreciate y'all so much. And please keep the feedback coming. And if you would like to leave us some feedback or just say hi, you can email or send us a voice message as an attachment to what's on tonight and the number 2 at gmail.com. You can visit our Facebook page where there will be a post for the next episode. And you can leave feedback in the comment section or send us a message through Facebook Messenger. And we can also be found on Instagram as well as at What's On Tonight Podcast and the number 2. We would greatly appreciate it if you leave a comment, like, and or share on your podcast listening app of choice. So, gentlemen, shall we join Dexter and Mia at the wine bar and share where listeners can hear us, podcast recommendations, TV suggestions, or anything else you want to share? Steve, what do you got?
Sure. Obviously, I could be heard on Panels to Pixels podcast. Mark and I cover anything that's comic book related, turned from comic books to movies to TV shows. All of that we cover on Panels to Pixels podcast. I send voicemails to various other podcasts. I was also just on an episode of Still Slaying, a Buffy rewatch podcast from Podcastica that dropped a day or so ago. So you can check me out on there. And as far as TV suggestions go, I am way deep. I had never watched this show before. As much as I'm a Nathan Fillion fan, I can't believe I waited this long to watch it, but I am I've been binging Castle.
Wow.
Oh, great show.
I'm up
But you were
to-
going to say The Rookie.
No. The Rookie. I've been watching The Rookie since the beginning. Since it
Okay, I
started.
love The Rookie.
But no, Castle. I had never watched Castle before, and so over the last few weeks, preparing for my surgery and just other things going on in life, I've been binging Castle. So I'm in the 5th season of Castle. So I highly recommend that TV show. It's a fun time. It's a police procedural but it's also got some recurring threads and some really good heart to it. So yeah, check that out.
Awesome.
Marky Mark.
Well, yeah, like you said, like Steve said, you could hear me on Pounds to Pixels podcast as well. Currently, we're wrapping up Invincible with Jamie and myself. Steve and I are going to be wrapping up Ironheart soon and making our way as soon as Peacemaker comes out at the end of August. And we're going to start moving into that, as well as when Gen V comes out, The Boys. There's so much to work on. You could also hear me on Adrenaline Cinema Podcast. And for you adrenal heads, guess what? If you went to San Diego Comic-Con, or even if you didn't, and if you watch YouTube, guess what came out? Interview with the Vampire teaser. So the Vampcast will be back.
That we have to wait till 2026 for that.
I think it's going to be in the beginning of 2026. So, but oh man, Sam Reed was amazing. We got the tease of him singing. If you look at AMC Plus, and they have a little bit behind the scenes too, and they talk about how apparently he was prepping a year before while they were doing season 2. Obviously. So there's a lot to look forward to. We will be working on some other movies to come out, probably shows. There's things that Rob, Frank, and Adam and myself will probably jump on for panels or for Adrenaline. And for the Pyrocore Music Podcast, where you could also find me as well. There'll be a couple of things coming out probably by September. I know it's been a long time since we had something out, but I'm working on getting other people who are interested just to jump in and do their own thing as well. So, yeah. And as far as suggestions, something to watch, I mentioned it before. It was John Hamm and your friends and your friends' neighbors, or your neighbors, your friends' neighbors, or whatever. It's really good. It can be found on Apple TV Plus. It's kind of where I got the watch reference and how they were able to trace it. It's pretty cool. It's an interesting, really good show in my opinion, and also a Murderbot that's on Apple TV Plus. I really did enjoy that. I got to finish up the season, but I'm still behind because there's so much to watch out there.
Well, I'd like to give a shout out to Paige and Daphne, who just finished their season of Run for Your Lives. You can go and check out their season finale episode where they covered the Crazies, which I was like, how did you get in my house and find out what's going on in here? But there's a lot of great content, like Steve was talking about, still slaying. And I'm very excited to listen to your episode, Steve, over on podcastica.com. And I would like to suggest to all who love learning about important women in history to please check out Mandy's amazing podcast, Dinner for Her. And TV recommendation, I was scrolling through Hulu just looking for something random to watch. And I came across this new documentary about Hurricane Katrina and what really happened in New Orleans. And it's 6 episodes. I have had to take breaks because it's a hard watch, but I think it's an important watch to fully understand one of the most catastrophic events in history and how the people of that city were really let down. So if you're looking for something absolutely not lighthearted and upbeat, but real, I highly recommend that. You can find it on Hulu.
Yeah, that could be a tough one. I was at Eglin in Florida during that time, and we had a lot of people came from New Orleans to Destin and Fort Walton Beach, escaping that disaster, and that they had nowhere to go back to, and so they were just stuck. The church I was going to at the time, I want to say for about 8 months or a year, we fed many families that were just there, that had nowhere else to go. They had nowhere to go back to, and so we were feeding lunches and dinners many times over those months. So that would be a tough watch, I think, but.
Yeah, it is, but take mental health breaks. But I think it's very important.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And as always, a big thank you to Marky Mark and the Pirate Core Funky Bunch for, I can't stop calling you that. And I'm so sorry for giving us this platform. Please visit the Pirate Core page. You can find it on our Facebook page. And there you can find our podcast as well as the other podcasts like Dinner for Her with our very own Mandy, a Journal and Cinema podcast and Panels to Pixels podcast, as well as other projects that Marky Mark is working on.
Feel the vibration. All right.
Be glad that song, I can't get the rights to it, because otherwise that's how I would play you in and out of every episode, which is still a great song to me.
Well, that wraps up our coverage of episode 5 of Dexter Resurrection. We will be back next week to cover episode 6. The title? Cats and Mouse. Cats and Mouse?
Cats and mouse. I think Charlie and Mia are the cat and Dexter is the mouse.
Interesting.
Could be.
You
We'll
heard
see.
it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
One mouse and multiple cats.
And we will have Kelsey back with us next week to guest host. So very excited about that.
Awesome.
So thank you, Steve, again for joining us. And schedule permitting, it looks like we should hopefully get Steve back for another episode before we end the season. So appreciate that. And good luck with everything you've got coming up.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Courage is like a muscle. We strengthen it by use. So be courageous every day. I'm Becky.
I'm Leon Prater. What? Wait, no. Damn. I'm Mark.
And I'm still Steve.
You have to finish the season doing this, Mark. We will catch you next week when we grab the remote and see what's on tonight. Bye.
Bye.